Hello, Sonoma County. This is Supervisor and Sonoma Water Director James Gore, here today to talk about why it's important to continue saving water this summer and this fall. I'm joined today with Jennifer Burke, Santa Rosa Water Director, and Drew McIntyre, General Manager of the North Marin Water District. I want to thank you both for joining me today. You both not only represent your local jurisdictions here in Sonoma County and Marin County, but also a coalition of public water utilities from all around the North Bay called Sonoma Marin Saving Water Partnership. It's important for us to always continue to sustain the gains that we made from our last drought. You all have been pivotal in making sure that that has taken place and that we look towards the future. And Sonoma Water, as we all know, provides drinking water to members of the Sonoma Marin Saving Water Partnership, more than about 600,000 people, and is also a member of the partnership itself. As way of background, our region is currently in its third driest water year of record. People might not think that because they saw rain this year. This means that the water storage levels in our local reservoirs, such as Lake Mendocino in Ukiah and Lake Pillsbury in Lake County, are low or projected to be critically low by this fall. Lake Sonoma appears to be holding its own at around 86% of capacity. That's one of our well-known resiliency measures that we continue to have. But Lake Mendocino and Lake Pillsbury are much flashier. They move up and down quite drastically with the weather. This summer here, and that we've had no rain in sight, saving water is going to be our only source of new water until the rain arrives this fall. So Jennifer, I want to start with you. If you can, tell us about Sonoma Marin Saving Water Partnership and its role in helping our region save water.
Great. And first I want to say thank you to you, Director Gore, and all the directors for the Sonoma Water Board that are providing direction and leadership as we're getting through this dry time. So in relation to the Sonoma Marin Saving Water Partnership, it is a collaboration of 12 public water utilities in Sonoma and Marin counties that have taken action to protect our region's valuable water resources in the Russian River watershed for over 11 years. And as you stated, more than 600,000 residents in Sonoma and Marin County rely on the water delivered by Sonoma Water that comes from the Russian River. Realizing the importance of protecting and preserving water resources now and for future generations, the members of the partnership, such as North Marin Water District and City of Santa Rosa, have taken a proactive role in helping fund, maintain, and implement an array of water use efficiency rebates, education, and incentive programs.
That's great, Jennifer. On the ground, what does that look like, just as a follow-up for you? When you guys, because I've seen you out in the community, members of your staff at gatherings, at other things, helping people get equipment into their hands, educating. It seems to be a full court press.
So for Santa Rosa Water, we do offer a number of different rebate and incentive programs. Throughout this public health emergency, Santa Rosa Water has continued to provide water smart services and support to our customers through virtual customer service. We are now offering indoor water smart checkups virtually by providing a customer with a leak kit by mail and then walking them through that kit over the phone or through video conference. These kits include a flow bag to measure the flow rates of water using fixtures and dye tabs to check toilets for leaks, and all materials are provided in both English and Spanish. In addition to helping customers find and fix leaks in their homes, if needed, we provide customers with free water-saving devices like faucet aerators and shower heads. And just this last week, we resumed providing outdoor-only water smart checkups, which include testing irrigation systems, providing efficient irrigation watering schedules, and recommending any potential improvements that can be made to ensure that customers have their irrigation systems running as efficiently as possible. In addition, we're also offering remote participation in all of our water smart rebates, including water efficient appliances and turf replacement incentive programs.
Oh, great. And how do people get in touch with you? How do they find out more about your programs and how they can apply?
They can visit our website at srcity.org/watersmart. That's probably during this public health emergency, the best way to provide information and
Great.
The best way that they can sign up for these incentive programs.
Great. Drew, I'm going to switch over to you if you don't mind. In addition to your job with with North Marin Water, you're also the chair of the technical advisory committee for all of Sonoma Water's retail customers. In that role, you have to manage a lot of details, both the sentiment on the ground of water rates and where we're at, but also the technical ability of us to continue to deliver. You guys help manage Sonoma Marin Saving Water Partnership as well, and I'm hoping you can tell us a little bit about your annual public outreach campaign and any other efforts that are sponsored by the Partnership to Save Water.
Thank you, Supervisor Gore. Each summer, the partnership implements a public outreach campaign focusing on practical water use efficiency and water awareness messages. This year, the partnership is implementing a campaign in both English and Spanish to reinforce water-saving behavior. The campaign gets the word out using all aspects of media, from newsprint ads, radio ads, and social media blasts throughout the entire Sonoma and Marin service areas.
Drew, let me ask you, how people don't always realize how interconnected our water systems are. So sometimes they wonder, what Marin County, Sonoma County, where's the water moving? Oh, it starts up in Mendocino County. What do you guys do to make sure that Marin County folks also know where their water comes from? That when they open up their doors, they're a part of the Russian River watershed in a sense, and that when they turn on their taps, some of that water comes from all the way up in the headwaters, and some of it comes from Dry Creek and in other areas. Is it hard to do that kind of outreach and education, or what do you find out there from your folks?
So that's a great question. One of the things actually that we're working on right now is our summer newsletter. It gets mailed out to all of our customers, and there's a general manager message in that newsletter. And the focus of that message from me, the general manager, is the importance of conserving water and where our water comes from. The fact that the majority of our water comes from the Russian River. And so it's a constant messaging that we do with our customers. That messaging also is not only in the summer newsletter, but also in the fall newsletter. And again, it gets mailed to every single one of our customers.
Yeah, good job. Well, thank you. And remind us, how many customers do you have?
We have about 60,000, population, about 60,000 customers.
Fantastic. Okay, great work. Jennifer, I'm going to switch back over.
Mm-hmm.
How are we doing in terms of saving water? We look back, we had, I think, the driest recorded year on record in Sonoma County in the 2013-2014 year. Our region was pummeled. That was at the end of a 6-year drought. So many measures were enacted by the state and here locally to achieve conservation targets, but also this whole message about conservation as a way of life, right? As our goal in life is not just to, when it's drought, hold back and then go and just have bad habits form during the good years. So how are we? What stayed in place? How are we still meeting state water conservation goals?
Well, I'm proud to say that this region has continued to be a leader in responding to Governor Brown's and the legislature's call to make conservation a California way of life, as we did come out of one of the worst droughts in our state's history. The water use numbers that we're seeing today are a direct result of our investment in water conservation. So for instance, for Santa Rosa Water, our customers used 14% less water last year than in 2013 as a whole. And the region in its entirety used 15% less water in 2019 compared to 2013. In relation, in 2009, the legislature had established a statewide goal known as 20 by 2020 to reduce per person water use by 20% by the year 2020. Our region not only continues to meet these state requirements, but is exceeding them. Partnership members have lowered water use from 130 gallons per person per day in 2013 to 110 gallons per person per day in 2019. That's a 20 gallon per person per day reduction. And this is well below the state's 2020 conservation target of 129 gallons per person per day for our region. So our region continues to be leaders and embrace water use efficiency and water conservation. And not only have they done it in the past, but we know we're going to continue to do so going forward.
That's great. That's great to hear, because we all, during those droughts, we preached that we can't just change our programs and our day-to-day practices. We have to change the way we view our relationship with our water in this area. And it's great to see that the data is hitting. And it's not just the data, it's because the programs and the partnership and the incentives are working.
Absolutely.
So thank you. Drew, one of the reasons we're talking here and now today is because there's also some pretty big efforts going on that are addressing the drought. One of them is that Sonoma Water is filing a temporary urgency change petition. It's to reduce flows in the Russian River, predominantly in the mid to upper reaches of the Russian River. This will help preserve water storage in Lake Mendocino that can be used later in the year for fall, in the fall time frame for migration of endangered salmonids in the Russian River. It's something that we're required to do. It's also the right thing to do for our fisheries. One of the crazy things is the reason that we are having to do this is not just because of the drought conditions. It's also because of what's going on up on Lake Pillsbury in Potter Valley. They already received a temporary urgency change order approval for PG&E to drastically lower the amount of water that goes through the Potter Valley project and ultimately fills Lake Mendocino. So it really brings us back to this interconnected world of our water system. So how can water savings by someone in your district and anyone relying on Sonoma water in their drinking water help save water all the way up the flow? And I guess as much as that, what are your thoughts on, what's happening with your customers to complement the reductions in flows going down the river?
First of all, just to follow up with what Jennifer just recently stated, the Sonoma Marin Saving Water Partnership is committed to maintaining a region-wide water conservation ethic. As each water contractor works to conserve water, the aggregate water savings results in lower required wholesale water deliveries from Sonoma Water. When this occurs, obviously it not only benefits reservoir storage, but it also ensures that more water is available in the lower Russian River for ecosystem and recreational needs. As far as in our local region here in North Marin County, again, this message is driven home on our website as far as where we get our water from. Mm-hmm. It's driven home in our messaging on our major water conservation outreach programs. And most recently, it's being driven home, as I mentioned before, in our summer newsline that on the very front page has a message from me talking about water supply reliability and impacts in the Russian River this year and the continued call and importance of water conservation.
Yeah, great. Well, I appreciate it because, one of the things that we have to make sure is that whether we're water users, water providers, water purveyors, contractors, or whatever, is that we each link in that causal chain is owning their own conservation. And I'll tell you what, for some of my constituents in the mid and upper river, when they hear about the flows decreasing in the river, and they say, well, what about the users? Are they reducing? And what Jennifer just talked about us being ahead of state goals in terms of permanent conservation on the user side, it allows me and others to really focus on gains and not on old water battles. We have a lot to do in the future. We have more discussions, negotiations, and deliberations about the future of Lake Pillsbury and the Potter Valley project, how much water is going to come through. We're going to have to always make sure that we have water for, what do they call it? Fishable, swimmable, and drinkable. So that there's equity across the board on that. And, I just appreciate your partnership. And so one final question for each of you. And Drew, I'll start with you, which is, what's the best way to save water this summer? Preach to the choir.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. The best way to save water this summer is just to fully embrace the water saving behavior and make sure that you fix all leaks that you have in your outside irrigation and plumbing.
Wonderful. God, people don't think about how much leaks affect this. I know for a fact one of our cities during the drought times found needed to achieve a 20 to a 25% reduction in water, and through one significant leak they found in their system, they found a 30%, right? Not something we talk about too much, but it's what you do on the ground, but also make sure you're not wasting water on your property. No leaks. Well put. Jennifer, what about you?
Yeah, and I would just echo what Drew said and add on that, now more than ever is a great time to really think about your irrigation system and give it a tune-up and make sure that there are no leaks in your irrigation system and that your sprinklers and drip systems are working properly. There's also a variety of indoor and outdoor water use efficiency rebates available from all of the partnership member agencies that will allow customers to eliminate water waste, improve water use efficiency, and save money while saving water. So now is a great time when folks are home and able to look at what's going on around their homes to really embrace, as Drew said, that conservation ethic and take advantage of the services and the programs that are available from your local water retailer and the partnership to help make those improvements a little bit more cost effective.
Well put. I want to thank you both and anybody who's listening for joining the conversation. We're in a crazy time with pandemics, COVID, huge cultural and social issues, protests. There seems to be disruption all around us. The one thing I would say is that it's awesome that we continue to have a community that meets state water conservation goals, and basically that we continue to provide the programs that are needed to support that action. So with you all in your positions and us leading the charge, we can ensure that every drop counts and that we're in a good position for our storage, our fisheries, our environment, our recreation, and everything. So this is part of everybody. I want you to know this is part of Sonoma Water's ongoing virtual community engagement program. View more educational videos at sonomawater.org, and please take action. If you're sheltering at home, it's a great time to take advantage of some of these rebates, some of these subsidies, to be able to make sure that you're a part of the solution. This is a time when we can either be part of the tragedy of the commons or the triumph of the commons. And if we all put in our own work on this, we won't have big regulations come down that smack us and force us to do things. So ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Thank you guys so much.